I am indeed very, very happy to be with you here this morning because this is important for me and for us in Edo State. Let me start by thanking the chairman and senior management of First Bank for this wonderful initiative. You may not appreciate what is going on here, but later in life, you'll find out that this event, this seminar workshop, will have untold effects and impact as you go through life. Because rarely do you find an opportunity free of charge for someone to explain, and not just anybody, people who have the experience, an institution that predates Nigeria, that the institution that funded this country, for people with that level of expertise to come and explain to you how to be financially literate. Because the biggest problem I find in this country with businesses and particularly government is that most people are ignorant about financial matters and how money works. Why did I approach my sister? I just became almost distraught when I began to understand the depth of the crisis we face in Edo State, where in a year, almost 10,000 young men and women, boys and girls, were deceived into slavery. You know that there was or is an invasion of our community by all sorts of agents promising to take you to a better life. So in 1 year alone, almost 10,000 people were moved out of this state. And most of them did not know that they will have to cross the Sahara under very treacherous circumstances. And that they had to also cross the Mediterranean. And in 1 year, at least 30 to 35% of those people died. For a community, a state that loses that number of people, the total number of accident victims in Nigeria in a year is less than the numbers we're talking about. And you say, we don't have a crisis? It was very clear to me that if any state has the advantages to grow an economy, to become a highly productive state, Edo is that state. Because through the centuries, this place, this part of the country has been quite productive. Not just by building political systems and institutions and an empire, but the empire itself was productive. They manufactured things, they traded amongst within the region and even internationally 500 years ago. Edo hasn't moved. The same factors that created the prosperity, which built the culture on which we rest, those same factors exist today. And what are they? Location. We've always stood between and within trade corridors. You cannot go from the eastern part of the country to the west, or to the south-south, or to the north without going through Edo. The land. We are blessed with a variety of vegetation. Very few places to have. We have swamp, we have rainforest, we have savanna. So there's practically no crop, no agricultural produce that this state cannot sustain. But most importantly, you could have all the resources without that key factor, which is the people, you. The amount of interest, the amount of progress I can see we've made since I got into office has been overwhelming and scary. We've found people with their own money doing work as I speak to build a port that will ensure that the cost of transporting goods and services and doing business here is reduced, such that Edo will be almost as competitive as Lagos in terms of trade. We found investors who are very excited and have started work in building industrial park. I, as governor, only realized recently that on their own, you have a series of Chinese investors who invested close to $500 million by the bypass. They are producing steel, they are producing ceramics, they have the largest flat sheet glass company in Nigeria here in Edo State. They are producing aluminum, they are producing doors. In fact, you could practically build a house here with products manufactured here. We have the bodies, we have the human beings, but do they have the right frame mindset, the right orientation to work in a productive environment? That for me is a very, very key question. And we as government have decided that that is a real challenge we have. For quite a lot of you, it's not your fault. I say everywhere, the Nigerian state betrayed you. They gave you a faulty education. They gave you a wrong education. We now have to try and make it up. First, let's admit we have a problem. Because your colleagues in other parts of the world see what they're doing. Because of the fundamentals they got. But we in Edo State have said we will not lament, we will not make excuses. We've drawn the line. By the grace of God, the next generation of children and kids from Edo State will have world-class basic education that will see them through life. For those of you who have found yourselves where you are, we will, as long as I'm governor, continue to invite people like First Bank and other, well-meaning organizations to join us and work with us to provide remedial knowledge, remedial studies to bring you up to speed. We will do our part as government. It's now up to you to respond.
Like you heard, in 2 weeks' time, there's going to be another follow-up training where the First Bank and some other partners will come in and give further training to pre-selected youths. We also are decided to reposition the former Institute of Continuing Education into an advanced learning center, into what we call a learning center and innovation hub, where work has started, and in the next few months it should be ready with a lot of equipment, a lot of computers, a lot of partners who will have follow-up trainings for these young people. Edo, that's why we created Edo Jobs. Edo Jobs is open and it's free of charge. They should just go on and register in Edo Jobs because that is the database from which we're selecting people. Thank you.